everyone, I am Ariba Tariq Lutfi and welcome to Santi's weekly broadcast, Nazariya, the power of experience. We were having this conversation about experiences versus knowledge, so let's carry on with it with Pakistan's leading ophthalmologists and their practice in treating glaucoma and share this with our viewers. So today, I would like to introduce the graceful and respected leading ophthalmologist of Pakistan, Professor Dr. Sophia Farooq. She has a great experience of more than 25 years, and she's the professor of ophthalmology at Qaeda Medical College, Bahawalpur. She is also the director of Department of Medical Education as well, and she is the consultant Professor Dr. Sophia Clinic, and also the head of eye ward at BVH Bahawalpur. So, Assalamu alaikum, Professor Sophia. Welcome to Nazariya. Would you like to say a few words?
Walaikum Assalam, Ariba. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very thankful to Sante as well as the Nazariya network and you in particular for giving us this opportunity to provide some know-how regarding the various issues concerning glaucoma.
Thank you so much, Professor Sophia. It's actually an honor of mine that you are a part of this project with me and you are here as a guest. I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people and educate them regarding glaucoma as well and ophthalmology. So let's continue the discussion regarding glaucoma and experience. I will start with my first question that as you already know that glaucoma is a blinding condition and people are not really aware of the severity of glaucoma. So can you give us a little overview about it as well? Let the viewers know that what is the actual prevalence of glaucoma at your clinic or your practice when you are practicing?
In my particular clinical practice, private as well as in the government sector, both, glaucoma is in our society is the silent killer of vision. People do not realize that they are actually losing their vision till they come to a stage where there is no going back. And we get a lot of patients who are in the advanced stages of the disease, and this is very unfortunate. And that is mostly because of the lack of proper screening programs and lack of awareness on the part of the public regarding having their annual checkups, and also because in our national health programs, we do not have glaucoma surveys or screenings going on a regular basis.
Yes.
But more importantly, I think the public is not aware of the detrimental effects on the vision that eventually glaucoma has, and that it leads to blindness eventually.
I agree with that, that patients and people do not understand the severity and that how much deeper it goes. So, Professor Sophia, in glaucoma, how important is the early diagnosis for its treatment?
As I've just pointed out, screening programs should be conducted. Glaucoma should be detected as early as possible. And the earlier it is detected, the better management program and technique we can adopt to give a better visual prognosis to the patient. As far as screening programs are concerned, we don't usually run screening programs in our part of the world, and that is where we are missing a lot of patients of glaucoma. So early detection is the prime key and the prime factor in the management.
Okay, so Professor, what is the most challenging aspect of glaucoma management when you are dealing with a patient?
I think the most challenging aspect is making the patient realize that this is a lifelong disease. The management is going to continue through the rest of their lifetimes. If patients do not realize that, most of the times we have a non-compliance to therapy for the simple reason that patients are of the opinion कि हमने 2 महीने डाल दी है बस अब छोड़ देनी चाहिए, या हमने 6 महीने डाल दी थी फिर हमने सोचा हम चेक करवाएंगे फिर जाके हम और दवाई लेंगे, या हमने सोचा कि ये शीशी खत्म हो गई है and we might need another drug, so we thought we'll consult, and that, you know, they waste a lot of time in between. And sometimes I've seen that patients come after prolonged periods of time and are spaced out intervals in which they have not been taking any medication at all.
Yes.
So I think the first thing when it comes to management, and of course the most difficult thing to manage, is counseling of the patient, making them realize just how important this management and this lifelong treatment is, how important for their visual health this actually is, and why they should not have treatment-free intervals in between, because that is actually very detrimental to their vision later on.
I agree when you say that patients space out their treatment. Patients don't understand that it is a continuous thing and it's not supposed to, beach mein aapko rukna nahi chahiye, and wo medication is for life. They don't understand that specific thing, and patient counseling, I'm sure, is the key to making them understand how to manage this condition as well. So, Professor, would you like to share with our viewers and with me as well any case related to glaucoma that you think will help understand the viewers that how different the real life practice is as compared to what they have already studied?
Yes, definitely. Only last week, a young patient came to me. He's around 35 years old, male. He has already lost one of his eye because of advanced glaucoma. It is a total optic atrophy, practically speaking, just perception of light. And his intraocular pressure was around 43 in one eye and 50 in the other eye, the eye which was lost. So I looked very carefully at what management we could offer for the eye that was remaining. Mm-hmm. And the CD ratio in that eye also was 0.95. Now, the dilemma here is that if you offer surgery to the patient, there is always a chance of wipeout of vision. We always say that when we perform glaucoma surgery, initially the vision dips and then it comes back, but with a high CD ratio, there is always a chance that it may not come back. So I'm still thinking about that patient. I have put him on full glaucoma management therapy. So when we talk about the management of glaucoma, we move in a stepwise fashion. We tell our students that you start with the basic PG analog, and then you go to a second line drug, and then you add another drug, and then you give additive effects, and then you do this and that, and then you add laser to it, and finally you can use a device and or do a filtration surgery. But in real life, it is never that easy. It is never that simple. It's not just a matter of prescribing one drop and then moving smoothly from one drop to another. Mm-hmm. And I have seen that a lot of patients who come with advanced cases, in fact, provide us with a lot of challenges regarding their management.
Yeah, there are multiple things to, not just one thing कि आपने drops दे दिया या फिर एक चीज दे दिया वो उसी से continuation करेंगे. जैसे for example socio-economic background भी देखना पड़ता है patients का, उनका compliance देखना पड़ता है वो कहीं किसी और शहर से ना आ रहे हो आपसे, just to get a consultation from you. Completely understand that point of yours. आपने अभी बात करी है treatment and कि किस तरह manage करते हैं आप लोग books और हम लोग पढ़ाया जाता है ophthalmologist को के स्टार्ट में जो है वो prostaglandin analogs जो है वो फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ थेरेपी है, उसके बाद जो है वो कंटिन्यूएशन आपको करते हैं फर्दर ऑन सो एंड सो फोर्थ. इस तरह से भी देखा जाता है पेशेंट्स को. So what do you think that how do you, when you newly diagnose a patient, what is your preference of therapy or treatment when you are treating a patient?
Again, it highly depends upon the stage at which the patient has come to me. If it is an early stage, of course, you go for PG analogs. But especially in the government sector, I see a lot of patients who have come to us with advanced glaucomatous damage. And in those patients, I usually go with a fixed combination of dorzolamide and Timolol, beta blocker, like tocodorsal that Sante has. That's because we have an added benefit of using two drugs in one drop and twice daily dosage. With the compliance of the patient is improved in that way. And even if they do not come to us for a long period of time, and we do manage to convince them that they do use it for their entire lifetimes, it provides enough protection to give them a prolonged, protection against neuroprotection against glaucoma. So I think this combinations for patients who come in advanced stages. But if you see them in early stages, then of course the first line would be PG analogs, and later on as they progress or whatever their disease progression rate is, depending upon that, we keep on adding the medication or going or shifting towards lasers or surgical management.
Okay. Can you please let the audience know if there are any drawbacks for long-term medication use in glaucoma?
There are several actually. Especially with the PG analogs, we get a lot of conjunctival hyperemia. And if the patients are using alpha agonist, there is conjunctival pigmentation, and that sometimes the patients are put off by that. I think redness, irritation, and at the end of the day, because of the preservatives in the medication, the dry eye and the ocular surface disease is the most commonly seen side effects that I've seen. As far as uncommon side effects are concerned, yes, sometimes I do see respiratory difficulties in patients who have had asthmatic tendencies and they have been given beta blockers. But nothing very adverse or very out of the common until now has come up. Several of my patients complain that ये redness हो रही है. So sometimes I try to convince them, but most of the times I do shift them to other combinations or fixed combinations which provide the same level of protection or even better protection against the glaucomatous damage.
Okay, so patients को shift कर देते हैं towards something that they can, you know, that is better for them. अच्छा, आपने mention किया कि patients को जैसे for example redness वगैरह हो जाती है, तो patients को पहले से अगर inform करें, even then they complain about it. Counseling में भी अगर आप बता रहे हो उनको तो फिर
मेरे ख्याल से सेटअप पे डिपेंड करता है, बैकग्राउंड्स पे डिपेंड करता है. द एरिया वेयर दे लिव डिपेंड्स अ लॉट ऑन दैट. अगर कोई आपके पास वेल एजुकेटेड वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड पेशेंट है जिसको आपने काउंसल करके समझा दिया है कि ये ट्रांजिएंट इफेक्ट है, माइट गो अवे, जब आप जैसे आप यूज करेंगे तो विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम इट विल डिसअपीयर, दे डू अंडरस्टैंड. but at the same time, and sometimes patients are happy with the idea कि ठीक है ये single once a day dosage है तो it's okay, we can continue using that. But I have seen that most of our patients who are in fact, एक तो वो present late कर रहे होते हैं, उनकी disease advanced होती है, और दूसरा अगर उनको कोई भी side effect हो जाए तो उसका सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक ये होता है कि वो पहले मेडिकेशन छोड़ते हैं और फिर आके हमें बताते हैं कि हमें ये मसला हुआ था और हमें ये बात 6 महीने पहले हुई थी, या जब आपने प्रिस्क्राइब की थी मुझे 1 हफ्ता मेरी आंखें लाल रही और मैंने तो वो दवाई तभी छोड़ दी. एंड दे डोंट कम बैक टू अस. सो आई थिंक दैट्स द मोस्ट प्रॉब्लमेटिक थिंग कि they don't come immediately for consultation and they don't inform us immediately कि जी ये side effect हुए इसके and we would like to shift. And they come to us after a span of like 6 months or even a year or even more than that. So I think that's the most troubling part about it as far as side effects are concerned. अगर patient आपको present कर जाए तो easy है, ना करे तो of course it's very harmful to the patient.
Yeah, very problematic in my opinion. Yes. So प्रोफेसर सोफिया, आपने मैंने इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस अपने एक्सप्लेनेशन में ही बहुत सारे कवर कर लिए. सो वुड यू share your views about future of ophthalmology in glaucoma or any latest advancements in glaucoma practice in the future?
I think 2017 से FDA ने 2-3 जो हैं वो DEPU preparations अप्रूव की हुई हैं, यानी biodegradable products, जो कि which are placed in the anterior chamber and they provide cover against intraocular rise and intraocular pressure and glaucoma. The metoprolol की preparations हैं वो. Okay. They are yes, they are for intraocular usage. The biodegradable products which are, I think we need that in our country. प्राइस एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है, मगर फिर भी अगर आप कंप्लायंस की तरफ देखें तो अगर हम पेशेंट को ये प्रोवाइड करना शुरू कर दें तो which is very, I think it is unfortunate that none of the companies has brought up those DEPU preparations or intraocular preparations for us, which have been FDA approved for the past 4 years now. So I think that they have a big scope here. Also, microinvasive glaucoma surgery, again, the price and the cost comes into play, but let's hope that with health insurance and other management techniques that other health policy programs that are coming up, we can manage it in a better way. So first of all would be the DEPU preparation in my armamentarium that I would like to see in our country. And secondly will be the microinvasive glaucoma surgical devices that are being introduced, particularly the eye stents and the micro eye stents. Yes.
Okay, so let's hope that in future maybe the pharmaceutical companies will work on that as well and make it available, easily available.
It would be wonderful if Sante takes the initiative and brings us a DEPU preparation, because that would actually revolutionize the treatment of glaucoma all over the country.
I'm going to take note of that, of course, and then we will see, inshallah, if we can work on that as well. So lastly, I would like to ask you, what advice would you like to give the young ophthalmologists who are looking at you right now and who look up to you?
My advice to those young people who are coming into this field right now would be that whenever you see a patient, try to make a detailed examination. Take one look at their optic disc. Definitely try to take the intraocular pressure, because this way we can easily screen out the patients, the hundreds of patients that are coming to their outpatient department, and which we are overlooking just because we do not spend those extra 2 to 3 minutes to look at their CD ratios, to look at their retinas, and to check their intraocular pressure. So I think if all young ophthalmologists make a plan of checking out, the anterior segment along with the and posterior segment together, in unison, rather than checking it out in isolation, we will be picking up a lot of diseases much earlier, and we'll be able to manage them much better than we are doing right now.
Yes, a detailed and thorough examination is the key for the younger ophthalmologists, if what I'm getting from your message. And
Yes.
I'm sure they are going to listen to you and understand your advice, and it must be a golden advice. So thank you, Professor Sophia, for your time and experience that you have shared with us. Your vast experience in the field of ophthalmology will, I'm sure, extend the knowledge of myself as well, and also the younger ophthalmologists beyond. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Ariba. Thank you, Sante, for giving us this opportunity. It was lovely having this conversation with you because it led to a lot of things that I hope could help everyone in the field later on. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm sure it would. Thank you so much. And it was really lovely having this session with you. And it is an honor for me as well and Sante. So Allah Hafiz, everyone. I'm sure you enjoyed and understood what from the experience of Professor Sophia. Allah Hafiz.